Hi guys, happy Friday. We're here for another Create Career Conversations with Create California. I'm Brittany, and I just noticed that my coffee mug matches my shirt today, so that's a creative thing. Anyways, I am so excited today because our special guest is Jade Tailor from The Magicians, aka my best friend in real life. I worked with Jade Tailor on The Magicians, and that's how we met on the set. If you don't know what it is, it's a sci-fi show about magic, and yeah. And so Jade is about to join us to talk about creativity and arts and schooling, all those important things. I'm just paying half attention because I am doing technology. Okay, one second. Here she comes. Jade!
Hi, I wore the
Hi.
shirt.
Oh! Jade got me a matching shirt, and now
Yeah.
I wish I was wearing it.
Really hoping you were going to. I was going to tell you to, and then I did it. It's a fly/Disney shirt because Brittany's obsessed with Disney.
I'm
Anyways,
obsessed with Disney.
hey everyone.
Hey, this is so I was just announcing you. So this is Jade Tailor. She's an actress and director and writer and philanthropist and activist and a lot of really good things. And my best friend, most importantly. So there's also that. So I was saying that we met about 4 years ago while working on The Magicians.
Yeah.
And if I may, one of the things that I've always loved about Jade is how creative she always is. And so that's why this felt like the perfect thing to ask her to do. Like she makes her living, she's an actress, but she paints and she knows Krav Maga and she knows a million other things. So anyways, could you just tell everybody a little, oh, you know what? I forgot to do one thing. I always do this at the end of the video and I think I was supposed to do it at the front. First of all, let me pin this thing. Take the pledge. Sorry, Jade.
No, go ahead.
Jade's used to me not always being the most organized person in the world.
I do.
Say?
I said, why we're best friends. I do the organizing.
I know. We really compliment each other. I don't know what I bring to the friendship, but she brings the organization.
Oh, you bring the fun.
Oh, that's nice. Oh my God, this is so funny. Okay, so I just pinned to the page, take the pledge at createca.org. So basically what Jade and I are talking about today, as I normally do, is the importance of an arts education, the importance of arts in schools and public education. And you can actually, like, it's good to talk about it, but it's also good to actually take action. So if you go to the link in the comment that I just pinned, createca.org, you can actually go on and sign the pledge and we can get more arts in the schools. So Jade, sorry.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah, so Jade is such an artist in so many ways. And you started from a young age. I mean, you started like classically singing at like 4 or something, right?
Technically 7, but started dancing when I was 4, was in gymnastics at 2.5. I was really, so my mom was very encouraging of the arts, and I was always a very just creative, rambunctious child, and it was something that was just coming out of me all the time. I can't say the same about my dad, and I think it was interesting to live in a household where one person was encouraging it and the other person was not. And but my mom always, and we didn't have money, and I think this is an important factor because I think a lot of times people are like, oh, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the means. Right now,
Yeah.
things are like, well, I don't have that accessibility. But we're living in a different day and age where everything is accessible online, and YouTube has endless things like Create California. Like there's so many places to go and learn and discover that creativity in you. And I think it's the reason why I was so drawn to art and creativity is because I think it is the most powerful healing modality on the planet.
Yes.
And I didn't come from a very easy upbringing, and it was my way of finding self-expression and finding myself through art and being able to use that as a means to heal and as a means to inspire not just myself but to inspire others. And yeah, and so it was just always my way of expressing because it felt like that was very confined in my everyday life. And we didn't have money either. And so my mom would somehow find a way. She had a friend that taught and asked for her support. We got scholarships. There were just other ways of going about doing it to sort of feed that creativity. And I think it's so, so vital. And ended up being drawn to schools that had predominantly performing arts-based programs, even though they weren't performing arts-based schools. And again, I think it's a factor because you don't have to just go to a performing arts-based school. There's accessibility, and but a lot of schools are getting the arts taken from them every day, and it is that really healed me and allowed me to find myself. And so I think it's just so vital that we continue to bring the art to school, to create a space and a foundation for people to discover that and allow that to flourish and grow. And so for me, I grew up dancing, singing, painting, music. I mean, the list goes on. But I think for me, I've never stopped seeking where to sort of utilize and use and discover more creativity within myself. And I think that's why this is so important. Again, for me, it saved my life in so many ways.
Yes. Oh my God. I feel like I could just like edit that and then just replay that everywhere when I'm trying to tell people how important arts in the schools are. No, that's so beautiful and it's so true. And like you were saying, about your own like emotional health and your own mental health, and like obviously arts help with things like it's been proven that they help with other academic subjects, and they help people get jobs, and they help whether the jobs are creative or not, but they also literally help. It's actually been proven that it helps with socio emotional health.
I think again that's a very important topic, like just to be like truly vulnerable, because I think it helps to be vulnerable for people to understand that what's possible through. And so for me, coming from an abusive household, I stopped talking for a short while. And the way that, and the reason I said I actually started doing that at 7, I was singing since I was 4, but I didn't start training until I was 7. And my mom, the way that she says it is she wanted to give me my voice back. And because I was too afraid to speak. It wasn't a safe environment to do that with my dad. But it was with my mom. And so she really tried to encourage and support that. And it really gave me not just my voice, but it gave me confidence. It gave me belief in myself. It allowed me just to grow and flourish in different ways that I wouldn't have otherwise.
God, I mean, it literally saved your life. Arts literally saved your life.
Yeah.
And I mean, thank God for your mom. And I mean, it just goes to show too, like how important that arts in the schools are, because kids are going to go to school, and a lot of kids came from similar households, in similar situations where they didn't have an outlet, and perhaps the only outlet they had was during the day when they go to school. And if you take away the arts from the school, and especially if they don't have it coming from anywhere from home, like when you go to school, you need to have that. That's the only way that they'll have any piece of that. And I mean, look at you, you're literally a professional actor now. Like you have this, and you have a voice. Not only you're an actor, you're an activist, you know? And so you went from this place of where you started, what you were just talking about, to not only are you making a living and a life out of creativity, but like you're using that to talk about other important things. Like Jade has a lot of amazing organizations she works with, notably the Women's History Museum, which I'm a big fan of. But yeah, like if you didn't have that as a child, if you didn't have that person in your life encouraging the arts, if you didn't have the schooling that you had, whatever it was, which you can totally go into, like we don't know that if you would be on these TV shows and on the stage at the Women's History Museum talking about. Sorry, sometimes it's a little backed up.
If it weren't for the arts, I definitely would not if it weren't for the arts. And also in school, and not to say that, you know, this happens everywhere, but also for me, I was in a school where I was really made fun of and I was picked on a lot, and art was the savior. I would go to art, like my choir classes and my art class, and it was another way for me to find myself and find my truth and peace and express. And again, I can't emphasize enough how healing it is, to the point where I ended up creating an organization called Tribe, which was an acronym for Transform, Resurrect Yourself, Be Empowered. And it was all about how art is healing for trauma and healing in general, because we really, when we allow ourselves and our imagination to just run wild, it flourishes. There's that big part of the brain, and it activates something in us, like dopamine, serotonin, all of those really
literally
important chemicals in our brain and in our body that bring joy, that bring peace, that bring clarity, that that bring inspiration, confidence. Confidence is like the biggest thing. That was something I really learned through that, because when we're able to utilize and learn different skills in that way and allow that part of ourselves to be expressed, then I don't know, I think anything is possible.
Absolutely. I remember when I was in middle school, and we both grew up in LA, and in the California school, not school district, but the California school system. I was in the Burbank school district. I remember in 6th grade, I was like really mercilessly picked on by my best friend, which was horrible. And kind of like us in real life. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Out of,
love each other.
We love each other. We like poking fun. I wouldn't want it any other way with you, Jade. But in 6th grade, my best friend just picked on me. Are you joking now? I'm talking about my 6th grade trauma, and Jade's laughing. What?
Juice.
Is that from Creation?
I feel very LA right now. Excuse me.
Sorry, let me get my green juice. But yeah, I remember being in middle school, and my best friend just picked on me so bad, and then obviously wasn't my best friend anymore, but I thought she was, and then she ended up getting all these other girls to be mean to me, and that particular school year always stuck out to me. But that was also the year that I got involved in the school choir. Wow. And that was the school I went to in Burbank has an amazing choir program. And that was like my saving grace that year. And I remember like every day I would go into choir, and I loved it. Mrs. DeMoore, I'll never forget her name. The choir teacher was so amazing, and she inspired me so much. And I had sung when I was younger, but that just kind of like reignited my love for singing. And yeah, that was like my respite in the 6th grade year was going to choir. And that was just my experience. And I did have support at home with both sides of my with both parents in the arts. And still, like, when you go to school, it's a whole new world. Like, no matter how confident you are, how much love you're getting from your family, like when you go into school, it's a whole new world, and arts can really save people. So again, if you agree, which I hope you guys do, go to createca.org, sign the petition for Create California to get arts in the school. It's just so important.
Yeah. Another important factor, because when we think about school, I think about like education, right? And
like history and English and
vital, right? So whatever I say next, take it with a grain of salt. But we are typically teaching people from left brain. We're teaching them like just very logistical, like problem solving, but that doesn't speak to the right brain, and that's like a whole half of our brain that is not fully being realized or utilized. And so we're not allowing people to be fully realized people when we're not teaching and educating and supporting on both ends.
Yeah, I totally agree. Do you have any like notable times from when you were in school? I know you mentioned too, like schools that had a focus in performing arts, which I wish that was just all schools. Like I know there's performing arts high schools, but I wish all schools you could say that had a focus in performing arts, because I mean it's so important. But is there anything from like your years in your schooling that that like stuck out to you and maybe informed the person that you are today, the performer you are?
So much. I think, oh gosh, there's so many moments.
Yeah, it's hard to narrow down.
In my senior year of high school, and this is interesting because even in like English and things like that, there are and can be creative elements, like Brittany and I are writers. and like avid readers. And this is something that, you know, in being an actor, you should be
Mhm.
into. And I remember my English teacher. So this is an interesting thing to say, but I'm just going to say it. Because I was very picked on as a kid and would sometimes get really quiet because I felt like I didn't belong with certain kids. Um, I was called stupid, or I was called different things a lot because I would try to sit in the back of the room to avoid people that were picking on me. And the kids that sat in the back were usually the ones that weren't good in school. I loved learning, but it
Yeah.
was a thing. Anyways, my point is, there was this belief for me that I was not good enough because of because that's what those kids were telling me, that I wasn't good enough, that I was stupid, all these things. And you start to believe that until you believe something different, until you're told something different,
Yeah.
especially by a peer or somebody that you look up to or you're learning from. And my English teacher, senior year of high school, we had a writing assignment. And I remember, and this at this point I had been acting for many years, and I was very excited about moving forward in my career in that way. But he had he was an incredible writer, my writing teacher, Mr. Smith. He ended up bringing a gentleman named Antoine Fisher. If you haven't seen the movie Antoine Fisher, you should. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. But he helped the real Antoine Fisher write the film.
Oh,
And he brought Antoine Fisher to my school where
oh
we got to
wow.
speak. We got to watch the film. I wrote a whole like dissertation on it. He was so encouraging of my writing because of it, and was so just created this environment of creativity, not um, just like writing something structurally and it being based on a grade. He was just encouraging for creativity and for exploration. And it was one of the most impactful moments for me because he told me that I was an incredible writer and that I needed to keep pursuing that. And it was one of the first times like I really believed in myself in that way. And then, I mean, the list goes on of different opportunities, just with school and the arts, where again, we didn't have the money at later on in life. When I was in high school, I didn't have the funds to go and do any performing arts stuff outside of school.
Yeah.
And that place I could do it. But then I pursued it as much as humanly possible and ended up, like, we had a dance team and we had a cheerleading squad, where we did like gymnastics, and I was in two different choirs. I, you know, was in the thespian group. Like, I immersed myself in everything that was available and possible. But it was available and possible at this school that I went to because I ended up commuting to a school that was fairly well off, that
Yeah.
where there were a lot of actors that lived. And so they were essentially putting a lot of money into the arts in that school. So in that way,
Mm,
lucky, but that's not the case for so many schools and so many people. Like, the
yep.
only reason I was able to go to that more well-off school, I was going to this school where kids were getting like new cars every day, and I was wearing the same sweatshirt to hide the fact that I was wearing the same shirt from the day before. I was not a wealthy person, like a wealthy kid.
Yeah.
And I ended up going to Calabasas, where the Kardashians are from. So
Yeah, that puts it into perspective.
very, yeah, like the dichotomy there was pretty palpable. So my point is that there were a lot of, like, Will Smith's kid like went to
Oh,
my
wow.
school, a lot of kids there that were creative, and so they really allowed that to thrive. But there are so many schools that don't have that luxury
Yeah.
and don't have that space for people to flourish in that way. And if I hadn't had it in that school, I wouldn't have had it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's
Wow.
just so vital. It's so vital.
It really is. It really is. And like you're saying, like, I mean, it's absolutely an equity issue. I mean, certain districts in California, and then of course, all over the place as well, but just have so much more money.
Yeah.
And so because of that, when certain districts and certain communities don't have as much money, the arts always get cut first because they're not seen as essential. And they are, it's not just like nice to have, it actually is essential. And
Yeah.
like the kids that just happen to be born in a district that doesn't have money for the arts, like, what did they do wrong? They didn't do anything wrong. Like, this is where they were born, and now they're not being given the same chance. And it really starts at elementary, whatever, young, grade school level, that you're kind of giving that, you know, tipping off point to become the person you're going to be.
Totally. And yeah, I think that's a really important part, or factor. And a lot of people don't know that the way that schools are funded is through property taxes. And so if you're in a wealthy neighborhood, you
Yeah.
automatically get more funding for schools, which then usually means they're not cutting funding for arts. And so for neighborhoods, that's not always something that's accessible. Most likely it's not.
Yeah.
And so that's why these kinds of things are so important, for funding for it, so that we change that like systemic pattern that we've been living in, because it doesn't create equality for all people.
Yes. It absolutely is systemic. And like you were saying, like coming from property taxes. And so, I mean, naturally, if you live in a district where it's richer and there's money for the arts in schools, it would also suggest that there's money to do things on the side that you want to. And it's great. All districts, rich or not, should absolutely have arts in the school. But the point is, for the districts that don't have as much money, like if that area in general doesn't have enough money for the arts, and it's not seen as important, well, then there's a higher chance, a much, much, much higher chance, that the kids in those districts aren't going to be like, okay, well, they don't have choir, they don't have dance class, they don't have whatever in the school, but I'll just go take a dance class once a week over here. Like, they're not going to have the money for that. And the divide becomes even further. And yeah, and it really is such an equity issue, and it's so messed up. So again, go to createca.org. I pinned it in the little chat box to sign the pledge. So it's something that you can actually do right now. It takes like 15 seconds if you care about, and then come back.
But go do that right now.
But do that, or do that in like when we sign off, maybe. But yeah, I mean, Jade and I, we love the arts. Like, the arts brought us together. Jade is such a light in my life, and I would never have met her if we didn't have the arts. Wait, what'd you say? You literally bleeped out whatever you just said.
Nicest you've ever been to me. No, but we mess with each other.
She's really nice.
And yeah, I mean, it's the arts have given me everything, you know, and I want everybody to have opportunity. And it doesn't mean that you have to go into the arts.
Exactly.
But there is something to gain from art and creativity and expression in that way. There is something that every single human has creativity and art that lives inside of them that needs to be expressed. That's a part of who we are as humans. Yeah,
exactly. And you're right. It's not having an arts education, having creativity in your life, in schools, in your own soul. It doesn't mean that you have to, or that you should go into a creative profession. Like, again, like, it's actually been proven that kids who have access to arts education unequivocally do even better in sciences, history, every other, like, you know, main subject. It literally makes them do better in those subjects. And when you get out into the world, into the California job force, the main thing, I actually read this, the main thing that employers in California look for right now is creativity in a person. Because whether you're an engineer or you're someone who's very technical, like, being able to think creatively through problems makes you a better problem solver.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of CEOs and people that are like, oh yeah, they're like, a lot of great stuff on paper, but I don't know that they have that thing in them that problem solves or is creative to think about different ways of doing it. And that's that, especially in like remote work and different things, you have to, in the tech world that we live in now, that is a vital thing. And so again, I think it just supports in so many ways. I'm curious about your experience when you were a kid with creativity in your school.
It was pretty pretty good. I actually lived in Massachusetts for, I mean, you already know this, but I lived in Massachusetts for the first 11 years of my life. So I was in those schools, which actually maybe is a good thing to bring up for how important this is. I'm glad you asked me, Jade. Thank you. She's the interviewer now. You're so good at it. But
Thank you.
what?
Somebody just signed the pledge. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Emilio. Thank you, Emilio. And SCJ 98. Yay, thanks guys. That's amazing. Keep signing.
Yeah.
So I was born in Massachusetts, and so I grew up in the Massachusetts in Cape Cod in this public school system there from preschool through 5th grade. And the arts was really good there. I remember playing a chicken in a school play. It was awesome. I actually have pictures. I'll show you. It was a handmade chicken costume.
That's amazing.
And the arts were amazing. And that's actually when I started becoming, that's when I decided to become a professional actress, because I was taking dance classes, ballet, tap, and jazz, and I was doing theater in my elementary school. And it was so encouraged in the school system. And even the community college in Cape Cod had a community program for dance, and it was just so a part of the culture there. And then at that age is when I moved out to California, blah, blah, blah. But that's what propelled me into my career. And I remember moving to California and moving to the Burbank School District. And even though the Burbank School District is one of the best ones, and it's really great, I specifically remember it being behind the Massachusetts district. And I remember relearning a bunch of things in 6th grade. And I remember thinking, like, this is weird. Like, the academics in school is so important. And I didn't know at the time that part of the reason was because of everything that we're talking about. But fortunately for me, when I came to the California School District, Burbank was amazing and is amazing, but unfortunately is actually the budgets are currently being cut. And so, so for me, choir was really important. A bunch of other arts, choir always sticks out to me in Burbank. But both of my parents and my brother are all teachers in Burbank School District. And their coworkers at the beginning of this year, before the pandemic even happened, the coworkers there started getting laid off because my family works in the creative side of things. They all work in physical education, which is considered part of the arts. And so even physical education, which is literally taking care of your body and your fitness and your full, your physical self, is being cut. And so since January or February, a lot of my family's coworkers have been getting laid off because of budget cuts. And it's crazy, like, seeing it happen in front of my eyes, like seeing this district that I grew up in loving, and everything was so encouraged in the arts, and I'm actually seeing things cut in real time with my own family members who my brother grew up in the Burbank School District.
Wow.
He's actually the assistant PE teacher to my PE teacher from 7th grade. Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
But seeing in real time things getting cut is really sad. And that's why we can actually make a difference, and we need to make a difference, and we need to sign the pledge. And for everybody who has signed the pledge, again, I saw somebody earlier asking how to sign it. Just go to I pinned it, createca.org, and click on the link. And then just right on the page, it'll say sorry, what, Jade?
No, go ahead. Right on
no, you can say on the page, it says you can click to sign the pledge, and then it'll be really self-explanatory from there.
And then somebody was asking if you had to be American to sign.
No. Anyone can sign.
Yeah, anyone can sign.
You can support this from wherever you are. Thank you, Jade. I didn't see that comment.
We have a lot of time, so thank you, everyone that is. It's so important and so appreciated. So
yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Well, Jade, thank you for chatting. This was so fun.
Always. Love you.
I wish I was wearing my Disney shirt with you. But yeah, everyone go follow Jade. Her Instagram. Oh wait, maybe it comes up. I feel like I'm 90 years old when I do this.
Top.
What?
Yeah, it should be on the top there. It's just Jade.Tailor.
Okay, cool, yeah. Go follow Jade. She's a wonderful Actress plan. Wait, what'd you say?
I said, go follow Brittany. I didn't say don't. I said, go follow Brittany.
See,
Somebody
I
else
cut out. The beginning cut out.
Canadian. And I was going to make a comment. Oh, hi from Israel. Shalom.
Oh, yeah. Jade speaks some Hebrew.
I do. Somebody was asking me for Canadian, and I was like, she might seem nice, but I'm just kidding.
It's all acting because it's from the arts.
The magicians. That's so sweet.
Oh, thanks.
My friend
Well,
Brian.
we love what we do.
Love you, Brian. But again, thank you all for joining us, and Britt, thanks for having me do this. And
thank you. Thank you for sharing so much. That was so beautiful. I just like this for me listening to you speak was like so inspiring. You already inspire me. I'll admit it. And just hearing you talk about it more was so inspiring. So I hope other people felt just as well, based on their comments, I think they were just as inspired, if not more. And someone else, Kika, just signed. Thank you, Kika.
hey.
And hi, Animated.
Yeah.
But yeah, go take the pledge at createsa.org. Support Create California, support the arts. And thank you so much, Jade. I love you. Thanks for chatting.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good Friday. Oh, God, this is... Okay, now I can edit. Bye.